Hello and welcome back to the All Things Football podcast. I'm joined once again by Jack,
Hello.
and today we're going to start off talking about Klopp's last game coming up this weekend and the new appointed manager Slot for the start of the season. So, are you looking forward to Klopp's last game? Do you think it will be a good match?
I think no one's looking forward to it. Just the fact that, it's an end of a massive era that's kind of revolutionized Liverpool as a football club. I mean, before Klopp, there wasn't really, obviously back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. But since then, we had the Benitez time, but since then, it's been a struggle to find a manager just like him. And it's going to be a struggle to replace him. So it's going to be a sad day on Sunday, I suppose, at Anfield for the fans and for Klopp himself and the players, because he's turned what was a pretty average team into a team of superstars, and he's won a lot with that team and could have won a lot more. But I think, yeah, I think it'll be a good game. I'm sure they'll want to go out on a high for him on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like he's been revolutionised that Liverpool team over the late 2010s and the start of the 2020s. It's like, will it continue with Slot or not? And like, if you get the replacements for your aging players, I mean, what Matip's leaving now, isn't he? Salah's still questionable.
Yeah, a couple obviously announcements today with Thiago and Matip leaving at the end of their contracts, which was kind of expected. I mean, it's a shame because Matip was one of the best, as Klopp has announced today, one of the best free transfers you would ever see because he was so influential how Liverpool played. And under Klopp, he was one of his best signings, I'd say. And Thiago obviously was a brilliant footballer, but just hampered by injuries in the end of the day. But I mean, looking forward to Slot, I don't think obviously it's not going to be the same for Liverpool fans. You can't go into expecting to go and win the league next year and be fighting with Man City and Arsenal. But I suppose I think it's one step you got to take a step back to go forward with a new manager. And I mean, he could come in and hit the ground running, but as a personal fan, I don't see that happening. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to adapt to a new system for players that have played under Klopp's system for so long. I mean, it is going to be a difficult adaptation for the players and for the fans. I mean, we're not going to be. I mean, like the gegenpress forward attacking football like that. It's going to be an attacking style of football, but it's not going to be the same as Klopp. But it will get used to it, I suppose, and let's hope he hits the ground running.
I mean, I can't really say much else about that. What you just said about Slot coming in, but it's definitely interesting because he's not like the biggest name that you'd associate with football right now. I mean, he's done an amazing job with Feyenoord over the last few years. It's just whether he can replicate that coming into the new heights of Liverpool. Obviously, Champions League football confirmed, unlike this season where they're in the Europa League. And it's like whether he becomes not, he won't ever be the same as Klopp, obviously. Well, he might, just it's very unlikely. But it's like whether he does better than the previous managers before Klopp and gets what he can out of the team that's there now and possible rivals in the summer.
Yeah, of course. So I mean, the way you look at it is Klopp's left him a squad there that has been built up over years, and now we're starting to grow again with the new midfield and a lot of new signings made over the summer. I mean, that squad has been left there and like perfectly for him. Like, he's not coming into a team that needs rebuilding. I mean, there's some players need come leaving and some players need to join, and he needs some new signings like every other team in the league. But he's got a good foundation there to build on as a manager. And I think, like you say, it isn't the most well-known name to come in and take over a big club like Liverpool, but I mean, everyone was expecting Xabi Alonso and all this, and they expecting he was going to be the player, the manager, sorry, to come in and take over. But I think the way he's been at by Leverkusen, you feel like he doesn't want to leave that place right now, and he's not ready to leave, which he wasn't. So and that's fair enough. And I think as a Liverpool fan, you've got to respect that. And I mean, he probably now won't come to Liverpool in the next few years, and maybe in the future down the line, but. I mean, I think that yeah, Liverpool fans expected that, and then you had the Ruben Amorim links with Sporting Lisbon as well. But I mean, that kind of got shut down quite quickly. But no, it'd be different. I mean, well, we've not seen um, fresh managerial like blood for Liverpool in a while, so it's always just interesting to see how it all works out. So I mean, he just needs to get in the summer and get his own players in and get his system nailed into their brains, and who knows what could happen.
Yeah, it's like the one thing you don't want from Slot coming in would be like to fall into a slump like United and Chelsea have, is just constant new managers every couple of years.
Yeah.
That's what Slot's probably worried about the most. So you've had a manager for so long, it's going to be hard for like the fans to accept him if he doesn't hit the ground running straight away, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a similar thing like you've seen with. I mean, I'd not really see Liverpool as a club like that just get rid of managers and bring them in. I mean, obviously, it's hard when you see Klopp 9 years. That's what he's done, and you're not going to sack a manager like that. But it's like a legacy. It's like when Sir Alex was at Manchester United and he left his legacy, and he was obviously unbelievable, probably the best manager there has been. And he got replaced by David Moyes. He came into the most difficult job in England, and it never worked out. And you think about it, it's not really worked out for any managers since him. So yeah, it's going to be difficult, but I don't really as not give managers a chance if it doesn't go well at start. This whole season and a half or 2 seasons, sorry, where it's gone a bit, it's not looking good at all. Then yeah, that's when you start making it. You start acting on it.
Yeah, I think you've summed that up perfectly. How like most Liverpool fans would, I think. So moving towards the transfer window after this weekend, a lot of clubs looking to be buying players, a lot of clubs looking to sell their players. Starting off at Liverpool, who would you want to see come in over the summer?
I mean, it's hard to say now because you don't really know what's the availability is looking like and who's going where and what. But I mean, I would have always loved to see if Ruben Amorim came from Sporting to bring Victor Gyökeres with him because I think Liverpool need. I think unfortunately Liverpool need a striker, and I mean, there's a lot of links with like, oh, is he going to bring in Isaac like from Newcastle? Are we going to bring someone like that in? I think as much as everyone loves Nunes and Liverpool fans love Darwin Nunes, unfortunately, it's just the consistency's not there if you want to win a league as him with him as your number nine. And obviously, Salah is getting on a little bit now. He's still a world-class player, and you've still got Shaw, Diaz, who apparently is rumored to want to leave possibly, and Gakpo. And I mean, there's so much quality in that team. It's up front. It's just maybe getting that nail number nine that can back you them goals constantly on a consistent basis. I wouldn't mind seeing Isaac at Liverpool. I think he's a top quality striker. It's just whether Newcastle would relieve him, to be fair.
The one thing that I've been thinking about recently is, say the right amount of money came in for Salah, like last year when they rejected that massive offer from Saudi. Would you accept it this year, seeing as he's getting on a bit? And who would you look to bring in instead of him if he was to leave?
Well, obviously, if Salah left, and there were the rumours with the £200 million or €200 million sale was whether it was true or not, it probably was true. I mean, Liverpool didn't want to get rid of him in the summer, which was very understandable considering what he'd done and was still what he does. Like, you still wouldn't probably want to get rid of him now. But I think you see the benefits more of getting rid of him this summer if he was to get an offer like that than last summer. So I think Liverpool would probably accept it. He's shame to see him go to Saudi because you don't want to see players go and waste their career over for a move. Oh, mate, yeah. But I think if that happens, you're relieving a lot. You get a lot of money and you're relieving a lot of wage bill. So there would have to be a lot of signing in that regard. You Salah and not bring a good big statement writing signing in or statement striker or left. It has to be a statement. And obviously, everyone would have loved a bit of Kylian Mbappe, but that was just out of proportion and around. But the players you'd want, it's just trying to get these players out of other clubs at the end of the
So sorry about that. It's been a few technical issues going on over here, but yeah, I mean, Salah going would be a big loss, obviously for you. It's just whether you can. It depends whether you use all that money to bring in one or two good players, or you split up the money and reinforce positions and still sign a couple wingers that are maybe not hitting their primes yet, but very young, but have like the ceilings to go and like win you leagues, Champions Leagues, and all the trophies possible, like Salah has for you. But it's like one person I was thinking could replace Salah. I don't obviously want it to happen, but there's been a lot of talk recently about Somerville if Leeds don't go up, replacing him. Yes, he's not like as big a name, but it's still like a very good winger who's won the Player of the Year in a championship that could easily replace Salah and has an extremely high ceiling, which no one actually knows where it's going to end. But there's also like you could get players like Elise, who's sitting at Palace at the moment, probably is trying to now look to a bigger Premier League club so he can break through in the French team if possible. Because he obviously has been left out of the France squad coming up to the Euros now. It's just whether the right players are on the market and if you spend all your money on one player or get multiple.
I think it's a bit. It reminds me if he was to be sold, it would remind me a little bit of when Coutinho left Liverpool in 2019, because obviously that's the Coutinho sale. As much as everyone was like, "Oh, he's our best player. We don't want to sell him," and I loved Coutinho, one of my favorite players. But if you didn't sell Coutinho for 130 million, which we got from Barcelona, we would never ever have won the Champions League or the Premier League because that money was reinvested in Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, Fabinho, Naby Keita, who I know he wasn't the best player, but it's like that money was reinvested, especially in, you say, Van Dijk, Alisson, Fabinho, three of the players that made it. They were two massive seasons where they ended up winning the Premier League and the Champions League, and I think that would be the kind of same thing you'd want to see if Salah was left. You don't want to go and see your club go and splash 150 million on a player because you just feel like that is a bit of a waste of the money. You can reinvest it sensibly and split it around, and that can really change the dynamic of the team. And who knows what Slot's got under it in his pocket, and you don't know what he's got. You don't know what he's thinking. He's obviously got his plans. It was announced today that he's leaving and he's joining Liverpool. So who knows what he's going to do? I mean, the board and the up on the chief executive, sorry, you got Edwards and his other side person back at Liverpool, which is really good because they're the ones that are going to be recruiting and bringing the players in and giving the funds as well. It's looking promising. Let's put it that way. I reckon the recruitment this summer is going to look a lot better than it has maybe over the last couple of years with Klopp, apart from the year when we obviously signed the big players that took us to the next level.
I think we should take a break away from talking about Liverpool in the transfer window now. And there's one player specifically I wanted to talk about, and that was certain player who plays for Napoli. Obviously, Victor Osimhen
Yes.
is growingly looking like he's going to move away from Napoli. It's just where will he go? A lot of Premier League clubs will be interested in him, and a lot of big clubs in Europe will also be interested in signing that amazing striker who's been amazing for Napoli over the last few years, winning Golden Boot, the league. So it's like, obviously, it would be great for Liverpool needing a striker. Will he cost too much? Maybe, but
Just to me,
it's
that
also
it
the
doesn't seem a
competition.
bit. It doesn't really strike me as a Liverpool signing, unfortunately. As much as he's an absolutely brilliant footballer, it strikes me a bit more of a Manchester United or a Chelsea kind of signing, that one, in my opinion. As much as I'd love to see him at Liverpool, but yeah, I don't know. He's a great player, Osimhen, and like you say, he's probably wanting out of a club like Napoli now and just to express his ability at a higher level. Like a Barcelona or something like that coming in for him. Who knows? He's got extreme levels that he can reach at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's just one of those players that is just going to be very good as long as he stays fit. He's like the same sort of player as Haaland. We're obviously not going to be as good as him at the moment, but he's like a little bit older. He's got experience in the Champions League. He's won the league. He's got a Golden Boot already to his name. It's just the right money comes to Napoli, they're obviously going to rip their arm off and take it. It just depends who it's from. I mean, I see the Chelsea shouts definitely because they love spending their money.
Yeah.
It's just would he be good at Chelsea, seeing as they aren't the greatest team at the moment? I mean, they have been playing well recently as well, but it's just whether they can keep their players fit to play with him and not have their injury-prone players staying injured all the time.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're looking forward to the Champions League final, I
Uh,
think.
Yeah,
If you want to move on to
uh,
that, I think
yeah, definitely. I mean, two
that we
great
got that in a
teams.
couple of weeks. Yeah, and it's a bit different not seeing obviously an English team in it. We've seen Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool in them recent years. But I mean, Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, what's going to happen there? Do you reckon?
Borussia Dortmund, don't you mean?
Dortmund, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, I mean, Dortmund, bit of a underdog story, kind of. They had to beat PSG, who I thought was going to be in the final, and Real Madrid. I thought from the get go it was going to be either Real Madrid or Bayern in the final in the group stage. It just didn't know which of the two. And
Yeah,
I thought at the start of the season that all Bayern needed to win another Champions League would be a player like Kane, and they obviously got him, but it
the time
obviously got injured.
drags.
He got injured in the second leg, and then they took all their attackers off, conceded late. Real Madrid obviously going through looking for their 15th Champions League now, 14th Champions League. So obviously the odds are heavily stacked against Dortmund, but they have been to the Champions League final before where they were heartbroken against Bayern Munich. Anything is possible in that beautiful competition. I That's the team I want to see win, but I just feel like Real Madrid will win anyway.
Yeah, I mean you're seeing these little jokes around Bayer Leverkusen and Real Madrid, just teams that just seem not to ever lose at the moment. It's like the games just keep running and running, and it just ends up with them getting their result at the end of it. But I think, yeah, I think it's difficult. As much as I'd love to see Dortmund win because I think they're a really top side, and I think Real Madrid are as well. But I think they're a top side, and it'd be nice to see something different win it. But it's just inevitable that we're going to see probably Real Madrid take another Champions League, aren't we?
100, not 100%, but definitely like it's just the safe bet, really, saying that Real Madrid are going to win the Champions League final when they're against a much weaker side.
Yeah,
But it's like, can Dortmund once again overcome the odds against one of the probably the best team in history, Real Madrid? It's also a known factor recently. I've seen a few jokes saying like the Super Cup next year when it's Leverkusen and Real Madrid, they're all going to be
yeah.
sat there in the pitch waiting for the 85th minute to happen because that's when they seem to score their goals.
Yeah, I think
But
onto that Bayer Leverkusen story, it's just incredible, isn't it? I mean, to go unbeaten throughout the whole season with in every competition and to nearly win and well, got a chance to win every game and every final they've been in. So it's what a story and what a job he's done, to be fair.
it's not even just that; it's the fact that Leverkusen are known for finishing second and they've never won the league in the Bundesliga. And they've Xabi Alonso's come in first season, gone unbeaten in the league, going unbeaten in the Europa League, leading into the final against Atalanta. It's just one more game to them, really. Surely,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's the consistency of seeing them 2-0, 2-1 or 2-0 down in the 75th minute, and then they're getting a random 96th to 99th minute equaliser at the moment. It's just like you surely just think, when is it going to end? It's just not ending at the moment. And I mean, fair play to him because I think they're a top club and he obviously he's a top manager. But it's just crazy to see what could happen. By left, will it happen next season? Will they've completely fall off? They might capitulate next year. Who knows?
it's been lovely chatting to you again, Jack. Uh, Thanks for listening. See you next time on All Things Football.